Oh, greetings, DZ. Hang on, fix that. There we go. Perfect. Oh, good morning, everyone. Oh my God. I feel like I got hit by a truck last night. Ooh, that was a yawn and a half. Holy cow. Otherwise, I got pretty good sleep. I actually went to sleep at a reasonable time. No, kind of tossed and turned a bit. Realized I'd messed up some of the cleaning on one of my talons. Had a little bit of a split off of it, and so it was catching on things. It was like, ugh. Hate that feeling. Hate that feeling so much. Ugh, alright. More confused than ever. Oh no. These are the real hard-hitting questions. Do y'all think Estrada could beat Knock in ping pong? Oh no, yeah, the server just herp derped. Of course. Everybody's like posting like Skeletor raging and stuff like that. Like, no! Or the little fucking Bobby policeman raging. Fuck. That's incredible that it went down. That's fucking incredible. What timing? Hang on, wait. I need to post that meme. Hang on. Here we go. Vanderlin server goes down. Stream's most affected. Yep. Oh, it's not working. Hang on a second. I think I have. Oh yeah, I had it. I had site wide muted on that browser. Damn it. Yeah. Vanderlin server goes down. Oh my God. Have we learned? Oh, apparently Briar's going to be going through a full recode because there's a lot more issues that Potato and the team found. They're like, oh no. They were going through like, these are spells they don't have. This is spell they get it randomly sometimes. What the fuck's going? Yeah, so the code is as much of a spaghetti factory as you would expect. Actually, it's less of a fucking spaghetti factory and more like a fucking spaghetti enterprise. We got multiple factories churning out all different kinds of fucking spaghetti monsters when it comes to fucking when it comes to Vanderlin's code. But the coders are going through and streamlining it and everything. They're just cutting stuff over. Oh my God. Woo. Yeah, there was a fantastic spell they had one time, and I want that spell back, where depending on how you used it, if you touched someone with it, it gave them light. They would shine with light. If you used it on someone, it instead blessed them against darkness. And then if you hovered it over a container, it would actually slowly fill it with water. So I actually liked that quite a lot. It was a really good, spell. That would be pretty fucking neat. Oh, somebody did reveal a list of potential spawns. So there are potential spawns you can have for using bloodbait. Alright? For anyone that doesn't know what bloodbait is crafted by using 2 raw meat in a sack. Okay? So, 2 raw meat in a sack gets you bloodbait. Bloodbait will bring in a random hostile fauna. Okay? So, that can be your wolf, that can be your giant mole, that can be your troll, your bog troll, or it has a potential, or giant rat, a rodent of unusual size, or it has a potential of a final one at a very low percentage rate, 2.5% chance. Okay? 2.5% chance you will get a you'll get a carnbog. Carnabog. Do you guys happen to know what a carnabog is? I'll let you guys think and ruminate on it. A carnabog. Do you know what that is? No, it's not like Chernobog. No. Let's I'll play you a little clip to see if you can get what it is. Back up a bit.
Oh. Right. Keep me covered. What with? Just keep me covered. Too late. What?
Too late!
There he is.
There it is! Don't you see it? What? It's just that little thing? Look at the bones! Look at the bones!
Silly son. Oh, you got us all worked up.
You got us all worked up. Yep, exactly. Exactly. So, you have a 2.5% chance for your blood bait to summon a little itty bitty rabbit. This little itty bitty rabbit will literally fly around and will fucking chop people's heads off. Oh dear. So if you deploy a blood bait and you see a little rabbit pop out of it, run for your fucking life. As I made a joke on the server of a typical Briar gameplay. Oh no, I summoned the apocalypse and it hasn't even been morning prayers yet. Oh well. Oh no. Yeah, apparently one got summoned inside the city earlier, or before the server crashed. That's what they're talking about in general chat, and everyone's like, damn, that bunny's got hands. Holy fuck, Kernabog Cabot's got hands. Yeah, pretty sure it has the same strength as a troll or higher. Which anyone doesn't know on a troll, a troll has some of the highest strength on the server. And so if you get hit by it, you're very likely to get critical by it, which usually means instantaneous knockdowns or arteries like torn open, stuff like that. Like it's pretty fucking lethal if you get hit by trolls. We just need fucking I just need to make a character named Sorcerer Tim. That'd be fucking great. Yeah, the server unfortunately died. The server literally died right before we started the stream. Isn't that fucking wild? Everyone's just like, fuck. All the files from the previous server to the WSL server, so things don't entirely get out of sync. Borbop had to go to bed, so it's all me. Also, please stop messaging me if I need help. I know what I'm doing. Progress update. I'm close to putting the server up. Just a few more things to finish up in TGS. Oh no. Oh no. No. We're running the server on a virtual machine on the server instead of directly on the server because reasons. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm curious. Why are you doing it on a virtual machine, not just the server itself? Oh, come on, people. Come on, people. Fair enough, such the server probably had a longer lifespan than Concord. Well, it's coming back too. They're just having troubles with its interactions. Beyond is being a finicky bitch for some reason. Which, you know, okay, it's like, alright, that's understandable. It's Beyond. Being a finicky bitch is kind of its default state. Also, alright. I came with a fun, why'd you separate me from the non-snakes? I'm not a snake either. It's fucking rude. Bad, Abysmal. Bad. Anyways. I was, just think-thonking. And I wrote up a scene real quick because I didn't want to lose it from my head. Technically, it's for the next book, so I should be finishing the Meraxis books first. But this one, I just had that thought because of that discussion we had yesterday of like, what's a good like faction name besides Loner? Because Loner is such a fantastic faction name and so easy and quick. And then we came up with Wanderer because it works. There are people that they get tired of being inside the city, so they wander outside of the city barriers. Even though that's, you know, dangerous to go out into the storms and all the anomalies and everything, they just they can't take it anymore. So yeah, I was think-thonking, and I had a scene in mind. Okay, I'm gonna have to lower this for sure. Lower the volume. Okay. Just can't help myself sometimes. Sometimes I can't help myself. Alright. Anyways, so yeah, so I needed a term for it that was kind of like it's not an outsider versus a native thing. It's just do you stay inside the cities or not? And this then eventually just morphed to, over time, it's now just references people that are like lone wolves, independents. I was thinking indies originally, but no. They're basically like independents. They don't really have a faction. They're just out there exploring on their own or in small groups. And I had a scene in mind where a outsider is coming in and they're being guided around by a native. They're being guided around by a native, and they hear this in the distance. And of course, the outsider won't know what it is, but the native immediately freaks the fuck out. But I do love a good air raid siren. Oh god, I love air raid sirens. Immediate pucker factor. Just instantaneous, like butt clenching moment. Yeah, so had a system in place to basically all of the cities and some of the surrounding areas that they can get cabling to will have sirens on them to warn when a dragonfall is going to take place. Well, you can think of it kind of like an emission, except it's not, what's the word for it? It's more centered, like, zone emissions in Stalker tend to be, like, if you're just out in the emission anywhere, you're fucked. Here it's more like directional. So, they'll notice that, there'll be like plants like that like spread out from a building, like if it's as if it's in its shadow that point from the direction of where the dragonfall hits. And when it does hit, it's basically think of it like a nuclear detonation, except that it kind of has like weird properties to it. And once it's gone, it lasts for an hour. But once the dragonfall hits, there's just like everything's kind of like fucked for an hour until things calm down. But you can wander around in it. It's just that you can't tell direction or anything anymore, because everything gets it's like as if it's like gets grayscaled out, and the only thing that's left are the shadows of everything that was behind. But you can still walk on it. It still exists. You just can't see anything anymore. Which also makes it incredibly dangerous because you can't tell if there are anomalies or anything in your way anymore. But a lot of people do it. A lot of people have to risk it because they get caught in a dragonfall outside of the cities, and then they have to make their way back to one of the cities somehow. A lot of people, you can't stay out there for an hour, so the sirens continue playing all throughout the entire hour to kind of give people like an audio cue of where to try to walk, as a way to try to make it back to the safety of the cities. But the cities in and of themselves have to have these giant shields that they raise up to try to protect it. And of course they gotta make sure they re-inspect it after every single one and check for damage and stuff. But there is this faction that are known as the Dragon Scarred that are going to be in it. And when a dragonfall is about to happen, this is one of your first early warning signs that it's about to happen. You'll see more dragon scarred show up around areas, but they won't be hostile. Normally they're incredibly hostile to everybody. But here, they'll just be kind of like in a daze, and they'll be walking towards various different spots. But then you'll see them kind of like stop in different areas, and they'll start posing and like opening their mouths, things that they don't normally do. Things like they just look weird, and they look like they're standing like statues. And it's because these are people that were caught in a dragonfall but didn't die. But every time a dragonfall happens, because what the dragonfall is it's time magic itself that got fucked beyond belief. But they kind of like replay out the final moment of their death over and over and over again. If they aren't killed in some other way, and they therefore cannot continue the cycle, they have to, every time a dragonfall happens, they repeat the cycle of when they died, when they first got scarred. So yeah, I think it'll be really nice and creepy. Nice and creepy, which is what I want. Oh. Come on. Waiting for the server. Back to Vanderlin General. Oh no. I hate that gif. I hate that gif so much. Somebody put the gif of the guy opening up a spider egg sack and, like, thousands of little spiders come out and crawl over his hands. Like, ugh. No, I hate that gif. Hate it so much. Oh. Interested. Holy shit, if Forest Guard actually has classes now, that's really fucking cool. Very interested. Actually, I don't want to play with Thor on there. Those are you spiders. I am not a lizard. I am a dragon. And two, I don't eat spiders. I burn them. Yeah. I guess for anyone that's new to the streams that doesn't know, I'm a writer. And yeah, that's right now we're still working on the Maraxis books. We're 500 pages in on those. I need to get back to them. Vanderlin's been kind of Vanderlin's been kind of capitalizing my time. But yeah, we're 500 pages in on the Maraxis books. We're doing good there. I need to go back and redo stuff so that page count's going to explode out. But yeah. I think I'm going to end the first book after the gods fall, and then which is a battle that takes place. I think I'm going to end the first book after that, and then we'll pick up from there. So that'll probably be that's like 270 pages currently in. So I'll probably go through there. We got to go through all of that, check all the chapters and everything, do some rewrites, maybe add some extra chapters in to kind of smooth things out even more. And yeah, that should I'll probably bring that page count by the end, probably 350 or so. So that's pretty good for a first book. And then the other stuff that's already that we've got going on, the 230 next pages are almost ready for the next book to be done. And that's kind of how I want to do it. I don't want to put out the next book until the book after it's already ready, basically ready to go. I don't know, give myself padding. Because I know my writing style. I know I can get caught in perfectionism real bad, real easy. So if I get caught in that cycle and just hit that over and over again, good God. I legit went outside for a walk the other day and I was like, this is just like Vanderlin. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Speaking of factions, do you think the Nest would be a good faction name? I mean, that highly depends on what your like what are they about? Like, what's their thing? Because the train guard in this are going to be they're going to be near the center of what's known as the God's Caldera, or the God's Cauldron, not Caldera, Cauldron, and that's where the Dragonfall hits every time. Ooh. But the train guard also come from the age when the trains were the methodology of actually getting resources around. I still think this book, the train book, has the best opening of them. I need to find a way to make a better opening because the current opening I have from the Meraxis books, it's a little I don't know. I feel like it's not doesn't have enough oomph to it. Let me pop it open. Let the let the clouds scream because it's 500 fucking pages. Yeah, then again, this opening just sounds kind of generic. The sky raged with lightning. Thunder added weight to each blow as the heavy claws and scales grappled with the glowing divine armor of godhood. Both parties in the duel of death were grunting and straining against the other. Like, it's just kind of like, it's okay, but it just kind of like it gets right into a fight that's happening, but it's also kind of like it's not as impactful. It's not as impactful as the train book, which starts with literally over 100 years ago, all the gods died. Like that, just right there, that single sentence. Damn, that's a that's a fucking impactful sentence right there. That's an impactful start to a book. Oh, God. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is gonna be turning to the Vanderlin waiting room. Hang on a second. I will be right back. My stomach did the grumble rumble, which hey, it did it early today, so that's nice. Yeah. Oh wait, no, I'm on the wrong thing. There we go. We're on the right thing now. I will be right back a momento. Oh my goodness. All right, cool. Oh, right. Speaking of creepy aspects of fantasy settings, by setting one of the four main races, the Jacrobites. So instead of Jacobites, rabbit, dog, people, who are the underdog race, gods are all eldritch fire. Entities are empowered by raw negative emotions such as hate, lust, fear, rage, and sorrow. What happens when one of these gods gets empowered by a tribe or a group of jacks? Cities and forests, and sometimes whole civilizations get raised in ash. Ooh. Oof. It's chocolate milk. It's cold and tastes sweet. What? That looks like a bucket of poop. That does not look like chocolate milk. Do not trust. Do ne trust. Yeah, that looks like murk water. Looks like muck water. Ugh. Blech. Okay, so we need to figure out what do we do while we wait for the server to come back? I guess we could watch a video, right? We haven't done one of those in a while. I'll have to put it up in the feed and everything. But that's fine. Huh. What's a good video I feel like watching? Fat Electrician's got a new video out, so we have to wait 2 weeks to watch that one. But it looks like it's about the fuse ammunition of the Americans in World War II. So that'd be really fucking cool to get a video on. Actually, is there any other Fat Electrician videos we got here? Ooh, he's got one about John Basilone. Holy shit. That's probably one of the saddest ones for me, right? Is when John Basilone, fucking absolute legend, goes back and dies at Iwo Jima after earning himself the Medal of Honor and everything for his heroism. He got so sick of being back in the States, he wanted to fight with everyone else. So they finally let him go into a training thing, let him train up a bunch of new gunners, where he taught them a lot of tricks of the trade, like things to learn and understand, like how to fire your machine gun instead of having to wait and set up the bipod and everything, how to fire it from the hip, how to use like special carry techniques and everything, and your environment and terrain to your advantage, so you don't need the bipod, so you can lay down covering fire faster when it's needed most. You know, when seconds count, every second you can shave off is important. Yeah, then he dies on Iwo Jima on the black sands of the beach. That's just probably one of the sad moments, you know. It's one of those ones of like history. There are people in history you just think should make it, and he was one of them. Yeah, I guess we can watch that because now it's over 2 weeks.
I'm just gonna.
It's a long video too, so that'll work. That'll give Vanderlin plenty of time. Vanderlin will have plenty of time. Let's do it. Okay. All right, Fat Electrician. What you gonna level with us with? Oh no! I've doomed us all.
I'm just going to level with you. I've been making YouTube videos for about 3 years now, and during that time, I've gotten recommendations for hundreds of thousands of different topics to do videos on. Some of them I've done. Some of them I haven't gotten around to yet. Some of them I'll never do because they don't interest me. And then there's another...
I want to know what one of the ones that doesn't interest him is. You know what I mean? Like, his topics will probably be weird. But he does all kinds of fun stuff, too, like explaining Costco and, like, why Costco is so good. And it's literally so funny. The Costco one was hilarious because he was like, and when will you ever see anywhere else in human history, or in the human race for that matter, somebody pulling out their fucking membership card to a grocery store and that actually being a way to pick up chicks? And he showed a clip of a guy at a ball game showing this girl his Costco card, and she's like, "Oh damn!" Oh my god, it's fucking perfect. Yeah, so he does all kinds of different topics. So I'm curious on the ones that don't interest him are like, what is a topic that wouldn't interest you?
Another category of topics that I've actively avoided because, to be honest with you, they intimidate me because the stories are that incredible, and I'm worried that I'm not going to do them justice. This is one of those.
Yeah, John Basilone.
Today we're talking about one of the greatest Marines of all time, an undefeated boxer with a 100% knockout rate and probably the greatest machine gunner to ever live, John Basilone. He is easily one of the most recognizable and renowned warriors in American military history, and for good reason. He has received the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross, and the only reason he got the Navy Cross is because they quit letting people get the Medal of Honor twice. And we're going to get to his incredible story right after a word from our sponsor. Yeah, babe, what's up?
Hey,
Oh my god. Oh my god. The fucking Imperial March for his wife. Holy shit. That's fucking perfect. Hold on.
Right after a word from our sponsor. Yeah, babe, what's up?
hey, I need a boombox.
Okay, I can go get you one.
Perfect.
All right, I'll go get it now. Love you.
Oh, I've seen this ad before. He did an ad read like this. He brings her a gun.
1 hour later.
Where's that boombox that I asked for?
Oh, it's right here. I got it for you.
What is this?
The boombox.
It's a boombox.
No, I wanted something to play music with.
Oh, that kind of boombox. Yeah, I got this instead.
Okay, we'll go to the store and get me a boombox so I can listen to music.
Can I keep this one still?
I don't care.
Victory.
This video is brought to you by Delete Me, okay? Super simple business model. You give them money, they turn around and they make sure
Hey,
that
Threadnought.
data brokers are not selling your personal information online. Okay, here's the deal. Pretty much anytime you use a free service on the internet and you click that little box that says, I agree to the terms and conditions, you've basically just agreed to allow them to harvest as much of your personal information as humanly possible.
It's funny, we just talked about this yesterday. We literally just talked about this yesterday.
They then turn around and sell that to online data brokers, and that's how they can afford to offer you a free service. But when you have Delete Me, they go and they monitor all of these online data brokers for your personal information, and then if they find it, they submit all the opt-out forms on your behalf, so they have to take down and stop selling that information. So when you buy Delete Me, you're not actually buying anything, you're just buying your way out of all the negative consequences of all the free shit that you've already got. And because they continue to monitor those data brokers, you're buying yourself out of all the future negative consequences of all the free shit that you haven't even gotten yet. So if you want to give Delete Me a try, there's going to be a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video.
All right, chapter 1, John. What a good chapter name.
John Basilone was born on November 4th, 1916 in Buffalo, New York, and spent his entire childhood growing up in Raritan, New Jersey.
You know what? I'm starting to think that November is the age of champions. I might be biased because I was born in November, but I'm starting to think that because we got John Basilone and Dan Daly. I'm starting to think there's a correlation here.
He was the sixth of 10 children with 2 older brothers, and both of his parents were first-generation immigrants that had just moved here from Italy. And like pretty much all World War II vets that we've ever talked about, he grew up in poverty during the Great Depression. Despite that, his father truly believed that America was the greatest place on earth. It was the land of opportunity, and he instilled that in all of his kids. Growing up with 2 older brothers in New Jersey, John got really tough really quick as a kid. He was extremely stubborn. He rode that line between bravery and stupidity with everything he did, and he was not particularly good at school. He could never pay attention in the classroom. He excelled at anything athletic, and he never shied away from a fight. When he was 7 years old, he famously decided that he was going to make a 1,000-pound bull that had nearly killed 3 grown men previously his pet.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
So 7-year-old 9-year-old John, with zero fear in his body, hops in this pen with this bull and goes to pet it. The bull charges him. He dodges it. The bull charges him again. He dodges it again. And finally, the bull just kind of squares up with him. And John slowly walks up to this bull. And right as he's about to place his hand on the bull's head, right between his horns, the bull rears down and launches John 20 feet through the air, and he lands flat on his back.
I gotta see that again. Holy shit.
20 feet through the air, and he lands flat on his back.
I'm gonna say this is Jackass. It looks like a Jackass stunt right here.
Luckily, John makes it out of the pen okay. Needless to say, that bull did not become his pet, but it goes to show that he is either gifted with an extreme amount of bravery or stupidity, and only time is going to tell which one it is.
Technically, it's both. You need both in good measure.
Now, around this same point in his childhood, John and his brothers end up going to the local movie theater, and they watch a movie about a boxer. And this movie inspires John and his two older brothers to all want to become boxers. But the problem is there's no boxing gym in Raritan. He can't afford any boxing equipment, so the three brothers just start trying to mimic the training from the movie. They all start jumping rope. The problem is they don't have jump ropes, and they can't afford it, so they start jumping rope with a clothesline. They started chopping wood with an old rusty axe they found. They start doing focus mitt drills with their bare hands because they can't afford any equipment. And this goes on for the rest of his childhood. Academically, John struggles in the classroom, and at school, he's not very popular either. And it's not that he's dumb. He can do everything. He can read, he can write, he can do math. He just can't stand sitting there for 6 to 8 hours a day looking at a chalkboard and some teacher droning on. He would...
Well, that was fucking me. I mean, I've talked about it a few times on the streams and on the podcast and everything. Like, I physically could not stay awake. I tried so hard. I would bring, like, water into the class and, like, rub it on my eyes and everything and be like, I just could not. I was bored out of my mind. And again, the classes where that didn't happen, stuff like Cisco Systems and Networking, stuff like Introduction to Engineering, then Engineering 102 and everything, like, those I was totally fine in. Gym class I was totally fine in because I'm doing stuff, or it's at my pace. Like, Cisco Systems and Engineering, very potential to be a very dry class, but it was all at our pace. We just had goals we had to get to by the end of the week. Because it was at my pace, I could do the experimentations. I could go through the books and everything, read up, be like, okay, so that's how you do this. I could go over to the lab equipment on the right side of the room, and I would go in there and we'd actually be like wiring up the routers and everything like that. We would be given cable lengths that were kind of like sacrificial cables. Here's your Cat 4 cable. And what you would do is you would chop off the end of it, and then you would have to rewire it yourself and everything. So that stuff I got to do. That was me working myself, right? Needless to say, I aced all those classes. But all the other classes, listening to people drone on, I just couldn't do it. But I've also told this story before. A funny thing happened to me in one of my classes. I had a teacher named Mr. Bacon. Fantastic name, by the way. One of the greatest foods of all time. He, my sister actually happened to be in this class with me. And she remembers this. She tells it, because she tells it from the side of being jealous. I tell it from the side of being funny. I was sleeping in the class, and somebody else started sleeping. Mr. Bacon got mad at them and said, "Hey, no sleeping in the class." And he specifically said this student's name. And the student immediately shot back with, "Why are you yelling at me? He sleeps every day in this class." And the teacher goes, "You want to know why I let him sleep in the class?" All right, and then he calls my name, says, What's this equation on the board? How does it solve to?" And then I look at it, and like 2 seconds later, I give the answer. And then I put my head back down, and he says, "That's correct. That's why he gets to sleep in the class and you don't." I was terrible. I was terrible at doing classwork, but I always aced all the tests. That's the only reason my grades were even remotely decent, was because I aced every test. I was awful at classwork, aced every single test I ever had. Yeah, so seems like John Basilone's got the same thing, where he's he might not be a kinesthetic learner, but he's definitely not an oral learner. Holy shit. Which I think it is one of the worst ways to teach people, honestly, but that's coming from me. I'm biased.
would zone out, and then next thing he knows, the bell would ring and class would be over, and he didn't pay attention to any of it.
Yeah, that was me.
Because of this, after he graduates from 8th grade, he informs his parents that he is not going to be attending high school, and he's going to go out and get a job and start contributing to the family. Because he's 14 at the time, there's not a whole lot of jobs that he can do, so he gets the first one he can get his hands on, and that is being a caddy at the local golf course. And at first, John absolutely loves it. He's outside, he's moving around, he's earning money to help his family. All these rich businessmen are giving him these huge tips because he does such a great job. And when he's not hauling golf clubs, he's hanging out at the golf course clubhouse with all these rich businessmen, and they end up teaching him how to gamble, and he gets really good at that, and he starts making money doing that too. And this goes on for years, and as John turns 16,
let's go gambling,
and then eventually 17, it's getting to the point where he can go out and get a real job. And John absolutely hates the notion of it. He resents the fact that society is telling him he has to go out and get some monotonous 9-to-5 job that he just has to do every single day for the rest of his life. In his mind, it's going to be just like sitting in that classroom, zoned out, and John doesn't know what to do because that's not what he wants in life. Not knowing what to do, John goes to his church and he's praying about it. He's just sitting there, he's hanging out, he's thinking about what he wants to do for the rest of his life. While he's there, a Catholic priest by the name of Father Russo comes up and starts talking to John. You know, he's clearly troubled, wants to know if he can help, and John ends up asking Father Russo, that he's known pretty much his entire childhood, like, hey, Father, you know, you were an athletic guy, you were in college, you could have been a doctor, you could have been a professional athlete, you had the whole world at your fingertips. How did you decide that you wanted to become a priest? And Father Russo told him that he just felt a calling, that that's what he was supposed to do, so he did it, and he told John that if he listened, God would probably give him a calling too. So John takes that advice and he's trying to listen or look out for any sign that maybe God's going to give him. And then one day he has what he describes as a vision that he's supposed to become a warrior. And because of this, John joins the United States Army in 1934. Now the problem is John doesn't really know what he wants to do in the Army, but he knows that his calling is to be a warrior. So he wants to be the biggest, baddest, most untouchable warrior on the battlefield, which is obviously being inside of a tank.
Best job I ever had.
The problem is
biggest, baddest, most untouchable warrior. I'm gonna get a tank. Oh god, once you get inside a tank, it's like, maybe this was a bad call.
is that John thinks that being cooped up inside of a tank is going to be just like sitting inside that classroom, and he absolutely hates the notion. He wants to be outside, moving around, doing things that are physical, so he picks the next best thing on the battlefield, a machine gun. And this suits John for multiple reasons. One, he's kind of a bigger guy by the standards of the day, right? He's 5'9", but he's 185 pounds with almost no fat on him. And on top of that, he's been doing nothing but lugging around golf clubs for the past 4 years, giving him a ton of stamina, which is good news because he's going to need it, because the machine gun back in 1934 was the Browning 1917, which was a fucking machine gun that required 7 quarts of water to cool the barrel down.
Yep. Water cooling instead of air cooling. Once they figured out that air cooling worked, it was a fucking game changer for machine guns.
Between the gun and the tripod, the entire thing is 103 pounds, not including the ammunition. And John is absolutely obsessed with this gun. He knows absolutely everything about it. He knows where to place it on a battlefield, how to set it up, how to clear every different type of malfunction. They have competitions on how to disassemble and reassemble it and run a functions check completely blindfolded, and John wins those competitions every single time. After finishing his training, John gets shipped out to the Philippines, and he spends the next 3 years there between 1934 and 1937, and it kind of fucking sucks the entire time. Now, at this point in time, the geopolitical climate is absolutely heating up, and war could break out, and if that war breaks out, John is obviously here to defend the Philippines. And as far as John can tell, if war should break out, the Army's only plan is to have all of its troops retreat to a tiny island called Corregidor and try to hold that. Now, this is extremely disheartening to the point that it pisses John off, because remember, he's here to be a warrior. That's his higher calling in life, and now he's over here in the Philippines. It's hot, everything's fucking wet all the time, there's fucking bugs everywhere, he's getting malaria, everybody else is getting malaria, and he's sitting here just suffering, basically waiting for war to break out. And then when the war does break out, the first thing they're gonna do is retreat. That's not what he signed up for. So this bothers John all the way down to his core the entire time that he's there. Despite that, he tries to make the best of it, which is really hard at times, because it's very clear to John that the Army either doesn't give a fuck about him or just doesn't have the funding to take care of them the right way, because they have basically nothing while they're there. They're living in these tiny little huts. They have very...
So he joins the Marines, which... oh, in the early war period of the war in the Pacific, the Marines had jack and shit for anything. They were used and out of date by World War I standards fucking equipment and everything. Oh my god.
little supplies. They're literally having to eat goat half the time, which John said was absolutely disgusting. And on top of that, John absolutely hates the rainy season in the tropics because he cannot stand the wool army socks when they get wet on his feet. It drives him absolutely insane. It bothers him so much that it becomes a well-known thing in his unit that when you're gambling against John Basilone, he is willing to accept dry cotton socks as currency to gamble with when you play against him. Which is pretty much all he does the entire time that he's there. He's either sleeping, drinking, gambling, or trying to bang the locals like everybody else. He actually ends up falling in love with a local woman by the name of Lolita that he describes as the most beautiful woman in the world. So much so that he actually gets her name tattooed on him. The constant drinking and gambling gets old after a little while, so he decides that he's going to start training to box again. So he gets back to running, jumping rope, starts sparring with any other army guy that's willing to spar with him, and then eventually he ends up taking his first fight in the army for boxing. Takes his first match, goes in there, knocks the guy out in the first round, takes another match, knocks him out too. After a little while, he is the best boxer in his unit, and then he goes and competes, becomes the best boxer in the army, and then he goes, competes again, knocking out the Navy's champion, becoming the best boxer in the U.S. military. Around this point in time, he ends up getting the nickname Manila John, and all the promoters back home hear about this badass over in the Philippines knocking everybody out, so he's getting letters from all these boxing promoters wanting him to come over and fight their pro champion over here, this pro guy over there. Basically, he's got a really good professional boxing career lined up the minute he goes back home. Eventually, he ends up beating everybody in the United States military, 19 wins, 19 knockouts, at which point he can either just wait and go back home and turn pro, or he can go up a weight class. He doesn't really want to do either, and his enlistment is coming to an end. John decides that he does not want to go up a weight class. He definitely does not want to re-enlist in the army because these past 3 years have fucking sucked. And he doesn't want to go back home and become a pro boxer because he doesn't think that that's the warrior calling that he had from his vision. So John finishes up his enlistment in 1937 and goes back home and moves in with mom and dad all over again, and he is right back at square one, not knowing what to do with the rest of his life. He goes right back to being a caddy at the golf course, and at this point, mom and dad are getting worried because, I mean, he's a 21-year-old man, and this is the 1930s. He should be having kids by now, and he's over here working some part-time high schooler job. He needs to go and get a real job and make something of himself and start building a family. And while nobody's saying it out loud, John feels that constant pressure, both from his family and his community.
Everybody will. Everybody feels that. Especially when you start trying to measure yourself up to the greatest legends in history. Oh my god. All that weight and expectation, everything slamming down on you. Holy shit. It is fucking brutal. Yeah. Oh, notification. No. Nah, bummer. I got excited. And it's not there yet. So I need to read or write to the data config. Then I give up and delete WSL2 and hope to God it works fine. Oh boy. Alright, we're at that point. We're at that point where they're at the last option. Here we go.
And he just doesn't know what to do. So he basically just goes back to what he was doing in the Philippines. Right? He's carrying golf clubs during the day, he's gambling, he's drinking, and he is fucking everything that moves. You gotta realize, he's the 21-year-old Army veteran that just got back from the military. He's 185 pounds, built like a brick shithouse with 19 knockouts. He's seen as a very eligible bachelor by all the young ladies in town. So he's doing stuff with them. He's even banging the old widow that runs the flower shop down the street. I'm not kidding. So that's going on for a while, and eventually his dad confronts him like, Johnny, what the fuck are you doing with your life? You need to get your shit together. So John is like, I know. So he goes, he gets a real job. He ends up being a delivery guy for a laundry service. He does that for a couple of months. Fucking hates every single second of it. But now mom and dad are proud of him. You know, he's gone out in the world. He's got a real job. He's doing the whole, family thing. Soon he'll probably get a wife, settle down, have kids, do what, you're supposed to do. He doesn't make it there very long. He ends up quitting because he just can't stand to do it. His parents are super disappointed right out of the gate, at which point John is like, I'm going to move out. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'll go out on my own. So he moves to a different state, gets a job with the gas company. So he does that for like 6 months. He becomes one of the top employees at the company. He's getting along fine. He does the work really well, but he absolutely hates it. He doesn't feel like he's fulfilling his higher calling. And around this point in time, all the news is coming out about the massacre at Nanjing, Japan invading China, killing hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians. There's stories coming out about Japanese officers beheading innocent Chinese civilians until their arms are so fatigued that they can no longer lift up their swords. And this bothers John to his core because even though his time in the army wasn't great and he hated it the entire time, time, he still considered himself a professional and did not understand why another professional military would do that to innocent civilians. And with this, John has his second vision, basically a more clear version of his first vision. He is supposed to be a warrior, but he is supposed to fight the Japanese. And with this, he decides that he's going to re-enlist in the United States.
This is the moment. This is the moment in the story where you would switch to the Japanese perspective, and one of them would like sneeze or something, be like, "Oh no, I think we done fucked up."
Military, but this time he's not going with the Army. He told his mother, and I quote, "The Army's too soft, Ma. I'm going with the Marines." So in July of 1940, at the age of 23, John Basilone joins the United States Marine Corps. And you got to realize, at this point in time, John is 23 years old, and there's a draft going on. So pretty much everybody else that he's going through training with is some 18-year-old snot-nosed kid. And John is just... he's getting through it. So he crushes basic training, goes off to Machinegunner school for the Marine Corps, and while he's there, he just starts hustling all of his classmates. He sits there and very loudly and very vocally expresses frustration in his inability to disassemble and reassemble the machine gun, which obviously he knows how to do extremely proficiently, but he plays it off like he can't. And then he suckers other young, cocky Marines in to a challenge of assembling and disassembling it and running a functions check, and whoever wins, wins money. And then as soon as they put money on the table, he just takes everybody's shit, including their socks.
You know something? This is like the luck of the Irish, only I'm not Irish, so you figure it out.
So he gets done with training. He's older, he's more mature, he already knows everything. Very quickly, he ends up becoming a gunnery sergeant. He's in charge of 11 other men and 2 machine guns. And he takes being a leader very seriously. He makes all the men in his section train and retrain over and over and over again with the machine gun, how to set them up, where to set them up, absolutely everything, to the point that they are just as good as he is. Then they end up getting shipped out to Puerto Rico for amphibious landing training. He's back in the tropics, absolutely hates it. Everything's wet, his feet are wet, his socks are wet, there's fucking bugs everywhere. He doesn't like it there. He ends up training there for an entire year. And as per usual, when he's not training, they're going out, they're gambling, they're drinking, and they're fucking everything that moves. At this point in time, he becomes kind of infamous for every time he gets hammered, he turns his hat, also known as a piss cutter, sideways to let everybody know, hey, I'm fucking hammered. So after a year of training, they're just waiting on orders on where they're going to go. Paris Island is apparently full, so according to the rumors, the U.S. military has went out and built an entire new base for the Marines, and this base is fucking awesome. There's a new movie theater, there's an athletic facility, there's a new chow hall that serves steak and lobster and cake and ice cream every single day for breakfast, lunch, and...
Hang on a second, that sounds like bullshit. Hang on, this sounds like the fucking unicorn dream. Hang on a second. This sounds like a fucking scam of, we need volunteers to go to this thing and help establish this base. Here are all these great benefits it has. Oh, and there's a spa that you can go to, and you'll be exempt from all taxes. Oh my god, this sounds like a fucking trap.
Dinner. Everybody is fucking pumped because they've been hanging out in the tropics where it sucks, basically living in tents, and now they're finally gonna go and get appreciated for the elite fighting unit that they are. So they get shipped out, they travel, they make it all the way to New River, North Carolina, where the new base is, and they get there. There's nothing there. There's like a couple of buildings for the officers, and then it's just a fucking swamp. They have no...
Fucking knew it. Absolutely knew it. It's like, no, this sounds like a... Yeah, who wants to go to fucking Candy Mountain?
There's no training schedule. They're literally just existing, living in tents in a swamp. Because at this point in time, America isn't in the war yet. So basically, they're one of the most highly trained units that America has, but they have nowhere for them to go. So they basically just like set them off to the side and told them to go camp in a swamp for a while. And it sucks the entire time. So they're there for a couple of months, and then they get word that they're going to a different new base, and this base, surely, is the base they were originally...
Surely, this is the base with the fucking movie theater and the soda pop shops and the spa and surely, this is the one. Please tell me they go to California. Please tell me they go to early days California.
Talking about, right, with the chow hall and the steak and the lobster and the cake and the ice cream and the athletic facility.
Please.
The new barracks, everything's going to be awesome. The new base is actually ready. They ship out. It's a very short drive. They come to this new place, Camp Lejeune. Also, no buildings, just a fucking swamp.
Oh, home of the infantry.
Is it close?
Very.
So now, morale amongst the men is at an all-time low. absolutely sucks. John is trying to do everything he can to keep spirits up. He makes it standard practice that everybody under his command is going to learn boxing. He's going out, he's teaching his men how to box. The circus in town actually donates their old tent, and they set it up, and that becomes their new, like, Madison Square Garden. He's hosting fights.
Military heads, how do we get our men to volunteer to this base? Sinister man in that room. I got an idea. Yeah.
Boxing is like the only thing they have. But John doesn't really have any interest in boxing himself, and after the word got out that he's Manila John with 19 knockouts, not a lot of people wanted to box him anyways, so it works out. But there has been several occasions where a card game went wrong and he got into a fight and knocked a couple of people out. And then they get a new commander that apparently is a badass, and one of the first things this commander does is calls John Basilone into his office. Okay, this cannot be good. John is nervous. This guy is allegedly a hard ass. He's supposedly one of the most decorated men in the U.S. military at this point in time. He's got 2 Navy Crosses. He's already served in Nicaragua. He served in the Banana Wars, and now John has to go talk to him, and he doesn't know why. So John walks into his office, and this guy is intimidating. He is built like a brick.
Obvious answer. Tell them you have some puppies and ice cream in the back of your windowless white van. Oh, God, no.
Shit house. He looks like a refrigerator with a smaller refrigerator on top of it, and that's his head. This dude's got the biggest barrel chest he's ever seen. His side profile is 2 feet thick. It's starting to make sense why this guy's nickname was Chesty. Yeah, John's new commander is the
Chesty Polar.
legendary Marine Chesty Puller. And Chesty goes into him immediately. Like, I understand you knocked some people out after a card game. And he's like, yes, sir. And he goes, I understand you're some type of knockout artist. And he's like, yes, sir. I was 19-0 over in the Philippines when I was in the Army. Chesty, at this point, flips out. The Army? You were in the fucking Army?
You're getting soft, brother.
Now, obviously, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this conversation went something along the lines of, why don't you explain to me why I would let somebody softened by the United States Army lead my Marines into combat? I have heard nothing but bad things about you, John. You are a gambling womanizer that would sleep with 2 women at a time if you could afford it. At which point, John responds, and I quote, even when I can't afford it, sir. At which point, Chesty cracks a smile and says, God damn it, you're going to make a fine Marine. Pull up a seat. They have to
God damn it, you're going to make a fine Marine.
a cigar together and start drinking, and then Chesty has John tell him all about the Philippines. Yeah, John Basilone is now homies with the most decorated Marine of all time.
Yes.
Shortly
Fucking Chesty Polar. My God. I hope he does a video on Chesty Polar. Holy shit, it'd be fucking incredible.
after this, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. They've committed the cardinal sin. They've fucked with America's boats. It is now game on. At this point in time, John's unit is one of the most highly trained units in the United States military, and they are immediately shipped out to Samoa on their way to the Pacific for more training. They spend about 4 months there. They train a bunch on amphibious landings, but they also train on jungle warfare, trying to focus in on what they know the Japanese like to do. They know that the Japanese like night fighting, so they get a bunch of nighttime combat training, and then they know that the Japanese also like to infiltrate behind enemy lines and pretend to be one of your guys and then murder you in your sleep. So they develop a new system on how to make sure that somebody out in the darkness is actually one of your guys. Now, the tricky part is you need to make sure that both members in this communication are both on the same page and they both know that they're not going towards an enemy. So you're going to shout out one word and they're going to respond back with another word that's the password. And the words that they choose are weather and clear, because apparently you can't say those words with a Japanese accent.
Clear?
Oh my god, yes. He got him from the Unsubscribed podcast. Holy shit. Yeah, Vanderlin's down right now. They're having massive problems with it. That's why we're waiting. We're waiting.
And clear,
Weather and clear. Oh no. Oh, of course he gets him from the Unsubscribed podcast. Holy shit.
because apparently you can't say those words with a Japanese accent.
Clear? Clear? Clear. 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 Clear.
So they get done training.
Oh my god. We are watching the story of John Basilone, the greatest machine gunner in all of history. Like, hands down. No contest. He is easily the greatest machine gunner in all of history. Yeah, we just got through the chapter. He's finally out of the Army. He's now in the Marine Corps. And he gave the in-between there, too, because he didn't go straight to the Marine Corps. Yeah, he's in the Marines. And he gets called into the commander's tent because the commander's heard nothing but bad things about him. The commander he's talking to is fucking Chesty Puller, who is the most decorated Marine in history. So, yeah, an absolute fucking living legend. Now we have 2 living legends in the same tent. So naturally, they hit it off and they're drinking booze and shit together.
Then they're just told to board a ship. They're not even telling them where they're going. They get out to sea after like 2 days once it's no longer a security issue, and they tell everybody over the loudspeakers, we're headed to Guadalcanal in the Pacific. There's an airfield there that we have to take and defend. Now, John is going to kind of be in the second wave. He is not there when the Marines make their first landing on Guadalcanal on August 7th, 1942. Now, those Marines experience very little resistance at first, and then 2 days later on August 9th, the Japanese Navy rolls in on the naval detachment that had dropped off the Marines, and they attack them at night and catch them completely off guard, and they end up sinking 4 American cruisers, and the entire naval detachment is forced to retreat, stranding the Marines on Guadalcanal. So for about that first week, the Japanese Navy just shells the Marines with naval gunfire and then tries to starve them out. The first major battle is on August 20th.
You'd be shocked how little this works against the Marines. Well, maybe you wouldn't be shocked if you know anything about history, but this doesn't work. Hold on. This doesn't work as well as they think it does. And you think the Japanese would have learned this lesson by now, especially after the baton and everything. But no. You'd think they would learn their lesson here. The Marines don't really give a shit. This is, as Fat Electrician said in one of his old videos, you have the United States Marine Corps and the Japanese Marine Corps, and they're about to figure out which one of them is the best naval amphibious force in the world. And it ain't the Japanese.
At the Tenarue River, when 800 Marines go toe-to-toe with 900 Japanese, killing 800 Japanese and only losing 44 Marines in return. After this, the Japanese realize 2 things. A, they're going to have to up their game if they want to go toe-to-toe with the Marines. And B, Henderson Airfield is apparently very important to the United States war effort, and they have to take it back no matter what. Henderson Airfield has a ridge right next to it today that's known as Edson's Ridge because it was defended on September 12th by Edson's Raiders. Edson's Raiders is comprised of 840 Marines that go toe-to-toe with 3,000 Japanese soldiers led into battle by Major General Kiyotake Kawaguchi. Utilizing the high ground and effective machine gun fire, Edson's Raiders absolutely crushed Kawaguchi's men. Over the course of 3 days, the Marines lost 31 men and killed over 600 Japanese soldiers and wounded at least 600 more. To the Japanese, this was considered the first major defeat of their ground forces in over 2,000 years and brought immeasurable shame to that chain of command. General Kawaguchi is immediately relieved of command, and his boss, General Hayotake, takes control, and it becomes his life's mission to win back Henderson Airfield to restore his honor. By August 18th, the United States Navy is able to punch through,
Good luck with
John
that.
and the rest of the 7th Marines show up to reinforce the Marines on Guadalcanal. Over the course of the coming days, they offload all of the 7th Marines onto Guadalcanal, but on September 23rd, before all of the Marines have disembarked from their ships, they get ambushed at the Medi-Cal River. Chesty Puller, hearing that some of his men are cut off and surrounded, commandeers the United States naval destroyer, the USS Ballard, takes it under his command, gets it as close as he can to their...
Basically walks up to the bridge. If I can imagine how this went, probably walked up on the bridge and said, how do you want to die today? Pick one. I can tell you one has a chance of survival and the other I'm just going to put you down right now. You're going to do exactly what I fucking say.
Position and calls in the naval gunfire on the enemy himself. He then loads up all the landing vessels that he has with as many Marines as he possibly can and begins leading them into the fight to save his men. And Chesty is right there leading from the very first Higgins boat, and it gets so bad from enemy gunfire coming in on these Higgins boats that the naval coxswain, the pilot of the ship, goes and starts turning the boat around, and all the other boats are going to start following, at which point Chesty orders him to keep going, and he fights him on it, and Chesty pulls out his Colt 45 and says that he will shoot him himself if he doesn't steer that fucking boat to that beach. Chesty lands, goes out, saves his men. Clear, John wasn't there during the actual battle, but he saw all of this unfold. He heard about it, and it reinforced everything that he thought and knew in his heart, that if he wanted to be a good leader, he had to lead from the front and be willing to risk himself for his men. So all the Marines get out on Guadalcanal. The biggest objective...
Which, as I said earlier, unfortunately, will lead to his demise. Which is... again... There are just people in history that you feel like this one should have made it, right? John Basilone is one of them, but unfortunately Iwo Jima had other plans.
Objective in the war right now is defending Henderson Airfield. This is the most important stretch of land on the planet at this point in time. So John and his 11 men are set up on this ridge right outside Henderson Airfield. They have 2 foxholes, 1 machine gun team in each, and they are covering a 2,500-yard span of the Marine front line, and they absolutely cannot allow the Japanese to get past it. On October 23rd, General Hayotake, who, remember, feels that he has been shamed by allowing his subordinate to lose to the Americans for the first time in 2,000 years, he is willing to die to win this fight, and he sends all the men that he has directly towards the Marine Corps' front line. And hundreds of them are headed directly towards John Basilone and his 11 men. The Japanese soldiers headed towards John and his men were covered in leaves for camouflage, and there were so many of them that Basilone's men said it looked like the jungle itself was coming to eat them. And while that is horrifying, you have to remember that John and his men have 2 heavy machine guns with overlapping fields of fire and the high ground. It's going to take a literal army to uproot John and his men. John and his men start mowing down wave after wave of Japanese infantry, and they just keep coming because they are under the command of General Hayotake, and this man is willing to die to win his honor back, and he's willing to sacrifice all of his men as well. Not only are John and his men metaphorically stacking bodies, they're literally stacking bodies to the point that it actually becomes a legitimate problem. John has to get out of the foxhole and push over piles of dead corpses because they're beginning to obstruct the view from his machine gun positions. They fight for hours, mowing down wave after wave of enemy, and by the end of the first day, John has lost 4 men and killed who knows how many Japanese in return. On the second day, they still weren't able to get past Basilone and his men, but they were able to punch through the Marine Corps line on John's right flank, and they surrounded John and his men. Okay, so at this point, on one hand, this is a horrible situation to be in, but on the other hand, this is exactly the type of shit Marines are into. Okay, this is what they call a target-rich environment.
Yeah. This is one of those things, the Marine Corps isms of like, sir, we're surrounded. They'd be like, then we can fire at will. This is exactly what you want to be. This is the situation in the Marine Corps that they're like. This is why we have the by default, be aggressive. Like, in the absence of orders, commit as much destruction as possible.
Environment, and now that they're surrounded, the enemy doesn't have anywhere else to go but to fight them. This is exactly what they want. The only problem now is that the rest of the force is cut off from him, so he can't get any more ammunition or water for the guns. And to make things worse, he's been fighting for so long, his fucking wool socks are wet. So at this point, John...
Oh, now I'm pissed.
I'm gonna go get the ammo myself. He takes off his boots, he takes off his wet wool socks, grabs a machete and his Colt 45 1911, and takes off through enemy lines to go get more ammunition and water for his men. John not only makes it through the enemy lines barefoot, he actually gets more ammo, more barrels, and more water for the guns, and makes it back to his men. And over the course of the next day, he does this 2 more times. John and his men continuing to fight the entire time, mowing down scores of enemy soldiers. But slowly, John starts losing more and more men. First it was 4, and then 2 more, and then he's lost 8 men, and then suddenly it was down to John and just 2 others. At this point, they had to improvise new tactics. They didn't have enough men to man 2 heavy machine guns. So John became the gunner, trying to make every single last round count. And then when John ran out of ammo on one gun, he would hop over to the other gun.
So he'd run over while his team was reloading the first gun, he would run over to the other one to use it.
While his 2 men reloaded and refitted that initial gun, and they would just bounce back and forth fighting as long as they possibly could. This goes on for hours, and John and his men can't keep up.
So basically, they're swapping. So John runs over, he runs out of ammo on this gun, runs over to the other gun. While he's on the other gun, his 2 guys are reloading the first gun. When they get the gun reloaded, they run over and join him on the other gun. So they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Why are they used water-cooled machine guns? Because the Marine Corps is infamous for being underfunded to like an absurd degree. The Marine Corps at the start of World War II in the Pacific Theater was using old, outdated World War I equipment. So they had water-cooled machine guns. They will get proper 1919 Brownings later, but for now, they have the big water-jacketed machine guns that weigh 103 fucking pounds. Like, it's a fucking disaster. But then they're also using the old 1903 Springfields and shit like that. They're not going to get the M1 Garands for a while. you might notice that the Marines are already kicking the Japanese ass while using incredibly outdated equipment. Once the Marines start getting the actual good equipment, once they start getting the M3 grease gun, the M1 Garand and everything, the situation is going to spiral quite quickly.
Would burn through all the ammunition in one machine gun before the next gun was ready. So John had to engage the enemy in hand-to-hand combat at their foxhole to buy his men more time to get the guns up. And then that goes on for hours. John Basilone kills 38 enemy soldiers at or in his foxhole in close quarters combat, buying his men more time. And just as things are starting to look really dark, like this is going to be the end, dark, we're almost out of ammunition, we can't keep doing this, Chesty Puller comes through again, rallies the Marines, pushes back the Japanese forces, and restores the initial line. Over the course of the entire battle, not just John's section alone, the Marine Corps had managed to kill 2,500 Japanese soldiers, forcing them into a retreat. General Hayatake again had been defeated, and this time the blame laid squarely on his shoulders, and because of this, he commits... Can't say that word on YouTube.
He fills out a Sudoku puzzle, and then he pieces out from existence.
Anyways, by the time reinforcements get to Basilone and his men, there is dead dudes absolutely everywhere. There's 38 of them in or around the foxhole. All of those kills were credited to Basilone in close quarters combat, and his fields of fire look like the most aerodynamic mass grave you've ever seen. There was so many they quit counting after 150. For the next 18 days, the Marines launched counterattacks, chasing the retreating Japanese forces all over Guadalcanal before eventually kicking them off the island altogether. But the fight's not over yet. The Japanese are going to come back, and they're going to come back with everything they absolutely have. Off the coast of Guadalcanal is a bunch of Japanese battleships, and they are there to secure a route for more Japanese soldiers to make it onto the beach through landing craft. But this time, the U.S. Navy is going to surprise them in the middle of the night. There's this crazy battleship commander by the name of Willis Lee, a.k.a.
We've done this video before, and we've talked about him before. This dude here had infamously bad eyesight, okay? Terrible eyesight. He's an Olympic gold medalist in sniper shooting. He was one of the best and most accurate snipers in the entire world. And he came up with a radical new doctrine for his battleships. Okay? His battleships, he treated every single gun on all of his battleships that he was in command of as if they were sniper rifles instead of treating them like artillery. And he dialed each and every single one of them in on all of the battleships he was in command of. This dude is an actual... This dude is probably one of the greatest, like, naval commanders in history. Dude is a fucking legend.
Ching Lee, a 5-time Olympic gold medalist sharpshooter and tactical genius that has just pioneered and perfected the method of using radar to find targets for naval gunfire, giving them an unprecedented advantage at night fighting.
Yep. Like, he actually went to Ordnance, because he's like, Ordnance, all of your fucking calculations are stupid and wrong. Here's how I'm going to explain how it's wrong. He actually started bringing in new, like, calculations for all the battleships as well. They're like, hey, you know, Ordnance is retarded, okay? Don't listen to fucking Ordnance. I'm going to tell you exactly how it works. I'm going to tell you about the curvature of the fucking Earth and how all this shit works. And, yeah, surprise to Ordnance, but not surprise to anybody that has a functioning fucking brain. Everything that was underneath his command went really fucking well. And all of his ships were hyper accurate.
On the night of November 14th, he engages a Japanese battleship detachment with his ship, the USS Washington, sinking their flagship, the IJN Kirishima. This forces the rest of the Japanese naval detachment to retreat, squashing any hope of Japanese reinforcements hitting the beach, effectively securing the island and turning the entire tide of the war in the Pacific.
Yep.
By January 1st, 1943, John and the rest of the 7th Marines were sent to Melbourne, Australia to recover from months of intense combat. And once the Marines get there, it turns into one gigantic party because now the people of Australia have been living under the worry that the Japanese were going to invade them next. And now they're tucking their tail and they're running from the Marine Corps and the United States Navy. The Marines are heroes to every single person in Australia. The Australians were so...
Oh, please tell me that John, it's not mentioned, but please tell me John knows about the fucking chicken story. Please Please tell me John was there with the chickens.
Grateful to the Marines. It said that there wasn't a single bar or home in Australia that wasn't open to a United States Marine. And
Yep.
they couldn't pay for one of their own drinks even if they wanted to. For an entire month, John Basilone is wearing his piss cutter sideways, absolutely hammered. And then one day he wakes up at like noon, probably still half drunk, feels like he's been hit by a truck, and his arm is just absolutely on fire. So he sits up out of bed, he looks over at his arm is just all bandaged up, and he has no idea why or what happened. And he's like worried that he like did something stupid, he jumped off a roof, broke his arm, something happened. He doesn't really know. Regardless of what happened or how hurt he is, he can't really do anything about it, and he's starving, and he can do something about that. So he doesn't even bother to look at his arm or see what's underneath that bandage. He just staggers out of the barracks and goes to the chow hall. So he's in the chow hall getting food, and another Marine comes up to him and is like, yeah, death or dishonor, right? And John Basilone's like, what? He goes, your tattoo that you got last night. Everybody was watching and cheering. And he's like, and he looks underneath the bandage, and he's now got a gigantic tattoo on his arm that says death or dishonor. Now at this point, John is like partially relieved that he's not severely injured, but on the other hand, he's like, man, I got so hammered I got a tattoo and didn't even know it. Maybe I should tone it down just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I'm turning into an alcoholic. I think when you get blackout drunk, it's time to wind it in.
Which works out because by this point in time, the party's kind of dying down. The Marines go into this like recovery type mode. They're kind of like out in the woods, living in barracks and tents, and they're just kind of hanging out until they get more orders. So that's fine, that's great, that's wonderful. The only annoying thing that's really going on at this point in time is in Australia, there's this fucking bird that's got the most obnoxious call on the planet, and it's called a kookaburra.
Please. Oh my God.
John and the rest of the Marines...
It's a fucking Call of Duty lobby. It's a Call of Duty lobby, no.
Absolutely hate these birds because of how obnoxious they are, to the point that they start opening fire on...
Oh, thank God. I'm so glad your editor shot the fucking bird. Thank God.
On the birds whenever they hear them, just to get them to shut the fuck up. At which point the chain of command is like, you guys need to stop. You can't keep shooting at these tiny birds with Browning machine guns, okay? They kept doing it, and then whenever the chain of command asked what they were doing, they would say they thought they saw a Japanese spy just to get these birds to be quiet. This goes on for months, just hanging out in the woods, recovering, shooting at these annoying birds, and then by May, John finds out that he is going to be awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions on Guadalcanal. Initially, he is told that he's going to go back to the United States, and FDR himself is going to put the Medal of Honor around John's neck in front of his friends and family in his hometown. But John doesn't really feel like he deserves it, or he has feelings that there's other men that deserve it just as much as he does. He said, and I quote, I just happened to be there. Anyone would have done the same in my place. And because of this, he feels like that Medal of Honor doesn't just belong to him, it also belongs to his men. So he actually opted to have the Medal of Honor ceremony in Australia on May 21st with his men present. And at this point, the Marine Corps realizes they have a unique opportunity. They've got John Basilone, this young, good-looking, 185-pound brick shithouse of a Marine that's got 19 knockouts in boxing and the Medal of Honor around his neck. And they ship him back home, and he's going to be doing war bond tours to raise money for the war. For the next month, John gets paraded around the United States with the goal of raising $15 billion in war bonds, and in less than 30 days, he raises $19 billion. And John Basilone hates absolutely every second of it. He did...
Again, yeah, because he's here to be a fighter. It's another one of those things where a lot of when they get shipped back, they have that thing where it's like, this all fucking sucks. I'm here to be a fighter. You know, I'm not here to like wave for the cameras and shit like that. No, let me go back. Let me fight with the people I want to fight with.
Not want to leave his men, and he definitely does not want to get paraded around the United States giving talks and speeches. It reminds him of being in school, having to go up in front of the class, and he absolutely hates school. He just grits his teeth and bears through it, trying to do the right thing. And then eventually, after he raises all this money and the war bond tour is over, he asks to get shipped back out to rejoin his men. He is immediately denied. He's far too valuable. They cannot have the news headlines reading that war hero, Medal of Honor recipient John Basilone dies in combat, so they make him a guard at a naval shipyard.
This is the worst.
This goes on for months and months, just John stuck inside of a guard shack, similar to that classroom that he hated as a child. And it's just eating away at him. He starts to become an alcoholic. It's just the loneliest he's ever been in his entire life, and he hates every single second of it. And then in November of 1944, he hears word that his old unit, under the command of Chesty Puller, is almost wiped out at the Battle of Peleliu. And this is the last straw for John Basilone. He's not going to sit in this guard shack anymore while his men are out there fighting and dying without him. He storms into General Vandergrift's office, the same man that pinned the Medal of Honor on his chest in Australia, and tells him the newspapers are going to read one of two things. They're going to read that you had to court-martial war hero John Basilone, or they're going to read that John Basilone is returning to the Pacific. You can pick which one. And then he says, and I quote, "How's it going to look if we retake Manila and Manila John isn't there? I'm staying with my boys. They need me."
Yep.
Within days, John is given orders to report to Camp Pendleton, where he is going to lead a machine gun platoon that's getting ready to ship out to the Pacific.
So he's got to train him up.
He's given 3 days of leave to go back home to Raritan, New Jersey, and get his affairs in order. And while he is there, he has his third and final vision, and it is alarmingly clear to him that he is going to die in combat. Despite that, it doesn't even really faze him because he knows it's his destiny. He tells his brother that he had this vision. His brother doesn't quite believe him. He gets his affairs in order, and he heads off to Camp Pendleton. While there, he meets Lena, a female Marine cook, falls in love with her, and they get married almost immediately, and they have 1 month together at Camp Pendleton.
Good relations with the Wookiees, I have.
After his month in Camp Pendleton with his new bride, he ships out to Hawaii, and he's got 4 months there.
Why would you use that clip? Oh my god.
To train his machine gun platoon to get ready for combat. While there, John does absolutely everything he can to get his men ready for combat. He shares everything he knows. He makes sure that they know that machine gun inside and out. When they do amphibious landings, if they're able to get that machine gun onto the beach up and running, he walks up and throws wet sand into the gun himself so that they get used to clearing malfunctions. After 4 months of training in Hawaii, they're told that they're shipping out and to board this ship, and they don't even tell them where they're going yet again. Same thing happens again. A couple days out at sea, they announce over the loudspeakers that they are going to be taking part in the invasion of Iwo Jima, which translates to Sulphur Island. This is going to be nothing like anything John has ever experienced, or any.
Yeah, this is the big one. Like, people talk about Saipan and everything like that. Like, Saipan was a major battle. No, Iwo Jima is the one. This is. How to put this in perspective? Iwo Jima is like the Battle of Thermopylae. This is one of those truly historical moments.
Any other Marine, for that matter. The entire island is not covered in jungles like all the other ones. Iwo Jima is just straight volcanic
horrible.
Ash that looks like this. The reason they need this island is because it's the only island big enough and in the right place that they're going to be able to land the new B-24 bombers on top of, and those are going to be critical in winning the rest of the war. This invasion is going to be absolutely massive.
This is where Mount Suribachi is. If you've never heard of Mount Suribachi, or if you've never heard of Iwo Jima, most people have heard of Mount Suribachi because of the raising of the Stars and Stripes. Yeah, this is the super fortress. Well, this was the mountain that was turned into a fucking super fortress by the Japanese. Interestingly enough, in Squad 44, you can actually... They're bringing Iwo Jima and the Marine Corps and the Japanese into Squad 44, which is fucking fantastic. And you will actually fight on Iwo Jima itself. It is the largest map in Squad 44, and it is probably some of the most brutal fighting in the entire game.
It's the biggest amphibious invasion in the United
There's
States
Mount Suribachi.
History. Over 800 warships, 250,000 men, and 70,000 Marines. John and his men are going to be landing on Red Beach too, and as the first wave lands on Red Beach, nothing really happens. There's a little bit of enemy sniper fire here and there, but there wasn't artillery, there wasn't mortars, they weren't opening up on them with machine guns while they were in the Higgins boats, and as soon as they get on the beach, there's nothing there either. So the Marines just kind of lay down and get low.
This was a new strategy by the Japanese, and it was devastatingly effective.
Trying to not be an easy target for a sniper, and then the second wave lands, and then the third, and then John's on the beach with his men on Red Beach too, and he looks out and just sees clustered Marines laying along this beach on volcanic ash that you can't dig into, and he has the oh fuck moment, and he realizes what's about to happen.
Yep, the Japanese wanted them to cluster. They didn't want to open up until they were sure that every single shell they fired was going to kill at least a dozen Marines.
The Japanese absolutely have every square inch of this beach sighted in with mortars and artillery, and there's pillboxes and bunkhouses off in the distance that are probably concealed and you just can't see them yet. Chuck Tatum, one of John Basilone's men, was laying down at the time, and he said that everybody had this feeling of like, maybe this is going to be an easy day. Maybe the Japanese got scared and they fled and retreated already out of the gate and we've already won. And then he hears John Basilone start screaming, "Get the fuck up and start moving up the beach or you're gonna die," as he literally starts kicking Marines in the ass and dragging them up by their collars and ordering them to push forward. And as soon as that happens, the Japanese open up with mortars, artillery, and the pillboxes unconceal themselves and start mowing down Marines with machine gun fire.
Yep.
There's nothing he can do about the mortars or artillery, but maybe John can do something about these pillboxes and the machine gun fire. There's one big Japanese bunkhouse up ahead that's mowing down Marines with its machine gun. John orders his men to get their machine guns up and start returning fire into the window holes of this bunkhouse. Once his men start laying down suppressing fire, hopefully keeping the Japanese from manning their guns effectively, John goes.
Man, I didn't think I was going to get affected that badly. I didn't think I was going to be that sad, but no, I just got really fucking sad.
He finds a demolition guy and a flamethrower, and he orders them to walk right up the machine gun's field of fire, right next to the bullets whizzing past him. It seems sketchy, but is literally the safest place to be right now.
Yep. Basically, because your machine gun is firing straight down that line, if you follow right next to it, anything that's straight down that line is not going to look up. It doesn't want to peek its head. It doesn't want to be the attention of the machine gun. So that is genuinely the safest place for you to advance to within flamethrower range. Which, remember, flamethrower range isn't like 5 feet. No, it's 150. I want to say, yeah, 150 feet for the man-portable ones. But still, you have to get to that point.
As soon as the demo man and the flamethrower almost make it to the window on the bunkhouse, John steps over his gunner, unhooks the machine gun from the tripod, grabs it by the handle around the barrel, effectively known as a Basilone bail after this, yells at his man to grab the ammunition, and starts running up the beach as the demo man throws a satchel charge into the window, and the flamethrower starts hitting all the windows with his flamethrower. John runs all the way up the beach. He runs up the hill that this bunkhouse is built into, and once he gets to the top of the hill, while holding the gun in his hands, he mows down all the Japanese running out the backside of the bunkhouse. At the top of the hill, John can see the airfield they need to take off in the distance, so he gets his machine gunner set up, gets the men that he has set up in a defensive position, and goes back down the beach to get the rest of his men, just like his mentor Chesty Puller would. He makes it back to the base of the beach, he gets all of his men, and they start making their way up the beach to secure this position. And then suddenly, John and 5 of his men are hit with a mortar, killing all of them.
Yep.
John Basilone is credited with saving dozens, if not hundreds of Marines with his actions on the beach that day. For this, he was nominated for a second Medal of Honor, but by this point in time, it had become common practice to never award the Medal of Honor twice. So he was posthumously awarded a Navy Cross and a Purple Heart, becoming one of the most decorated Marines of all time. And many of the Marines that he saved that day would go on to take Iwo Jima and ultimately win World War II. And that is the story of John Basilone, Manila John, the greatest machine gunner to ever live. Thank you for watching.
Oh, God. I knew it was coming, and it still got me. I knew it was coming, and I still just couldn't. I just couldn't. Because, yeah. As I said before the video even started, John Basilone was one of those people. He was one of those that you're like, no, he should make it. He should absolutely make it, but he just didn't. So yeah, it's man, I didn't expect it would get to me that much because I already knew like what was happening. But oh my God, yeah, that's just fucking still brutal. Oh God.
Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Whack bang out. I absolutely hate endings like that.
Yep.
Sergeant, Sergeant, can you tell us something about how you happened to get this medal? You must have mowed them down.
Yes, sir. I was in a good outfit with good men. I just happened to be there, and any man would have done the same in my place.
Spoken just like a Marine. Can you tell us, Sergeant, something about how you happened to get this Congressional Medal of Honor?
Yes, sir. I was in a good outfit with good men. I just happened to be there, and anyone would have done the same in my place.
Spoken just like a Marine. Sergeant, where does your old man come from?
My father comes from Naples.
Oh, God. Oh, it got to me more than I expected it would. Because, you know what I mean? Normally when you're like, when you know the ending, like, you hope it doesn't hit you that hard, but fuck, it still hit me real hard. Also, they gave up finally on the Vanderlin thing. I think they're getting rid of WSL. I think Vanderlin should be coming back online, or they're going to try to bring it back online. So, let's see. We're going to try and open up the server and hope it fucking works. No, Baron, I'm not going to do any more videos. Again, I don't like doing a thing, especially if it's not a scheduled thing. I don't want to do, like, video day. This was a special occasion because Vanderlin was down. Yeah, I still don't understand why they're trying to run it on a virtual machine instead of running it on the server itself. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But, you know, whatever. It's their choice. They can do it if they want. And would you look at that? The server is up and running. Yeah. Okay. Vanderlin is back, baby. Vanderlin is back. He's back, baby. All right. I am literally on the server now. No, what is it? Technically. Technically. I am literally on the server now. I have fucking stream evidence that it's up. They're saying if you connect right now, you're not going to have a good time. Oh, well. Hang on. I'm going to... Apparently the Forest Guard now have... things. So I kind of want to see Forest Guard. Because apparently they have classes now. You're about to see the buggiest shit. Buggy stuff is funny. Buggy stuff is funny. Let's do it. Let the bugs and disaster roll. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, holy shit, though. What a fucking... Like, that was one of those ones that got me. That was a tearjerker. That was genuinely a tearjerker. No, the server had been down for hours. They tried something. It didn't work. They finally gave up. But apparently, it's gonna be buggy as shit this time. We're gonna find out. One of the many reasons I use Windows Update Blocker. I cannot begin to tell you the number of times Windows and their updates fuck everything up. The server was dead for hours. Alright. Okay, cool. While that's all going on, I need to go to the bathroom. My stomach did the grumble rumble. I will be RB. And if I start, I start. But I've heard that they have... Oh, shit. Hold on. Wait. No, I need to unready. I need to change. Thorin wouldn't be a forest guard. Oh, my God. Character. Change character. Vendrick would be a forest guard. Absolutely. What is wrong with me? Not Warden. Shit, I need to go. My stomach is growling. There, Vendrick. Save. Alright. Okay. BRB. Alright, I exist. And potentially good news. Oh my god. Potentially good news. Looks like there is classes. I think Forest Ranger makes most sense. Right? Maybe infantry would make sense too. I don't know. You were deployed to the front lines, hit in their skulls and chopped their legs off. In the Goblin Wars, you were always one of the fastest as well as one of the weakest in the platoon. Your trusty bow has served you well. Horse Brawler. Goblin Wars, you took an oath to never wield a weapon. You just enjoy getting your hands dirty too much. Oh my god. That'd probably be a dwarf right there. That'd be a dwarfy thing. But yeah, Forest Guard get classes now. That's really fucking neat. Let's do... I'm gonna do infantry. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I wish I had some stuff. Okay, we've got ratos here. Everything. It's pretty good, pretty good. Got a needle. Probably take one needle. No. I will make a needle. Oh, rato is loose. Where's me key? Alright, I'm gonna go see if I can get a thing. What are our... Whoops. Nope, incorrect. What are our skills? Expert climbing. Expert axes and maces. Ooh, yes please. Okay. Put the axe here. I'm gonna go get a lantern. A lampturn. Do I have money? And if so, how much? I have 15. That's more than enough to get a lantern. Keep the torch on us because it's handy. Alright, there's probably not going to be a lot of people yet, so that's fine. There's no one here. Who would have lanterns? I mean, technically the Forest Guard should, but I didn't see any in the, I didn't see anybody in the thing, so. I'll just run on back and see if I do another quick peruse, and we'll go from there. Yeah, we got rope, chain, cloth, torches. Check upstairs, just to be sure. And the sword, that will be for the warden. Okay. We got stuff to make some things. Alright, cool. Cool, that's all appreciated. Yeah, no, oh, wait, unless, hang on. No, there isn't. I thought potentially, because of the way this all laid out, I thought potentially there could be one underneath the book. There's not. Yeah, the reason I like lanterns so much better is I don't lose... I won't lose out on a hand space, and I can still have visual for nighttime, because we're going to have to go on night patrols. This will be my first time doing Forest Guard, but we absolutely need to do night patrols. Oh, hang on. Creighton? How much you want for a lantern? I might have to give up something as well. I don't know if the merchant can get a lantern for cheap. I hope they can. If not, tragic. What it is. Come on, 10, 10, 10, 10. 20. Oh, shite. I got 15 on me. How to trade? How about a trade 10? 10. Me iron mace and some mammons on top. Keep me axe. Okay. Need to keep me axe. I'll see how much. To mammon with the iron axe. Or you want to 15. I'll see what she says. Again, it's her call. Greens. I gotta be wary because I'm holding my mammons in my hand. Greens. Good. See. How many? How many mammons do you want on top? How many mammons? Oh, shit. I fucked that up. Alright. Thank you, kind. Alright. Oh! What? Why? Why you do that? Why you do that? Hi. On it. Oh. Cease that. Cease. Locked up. See, so you're gonna get locked up. Then, what Im's problem was he just started shooting people. Nay a word. Otherwise. Come on. Nay, laddie. No need for that. Come on, nay, lad. Anyways. To the keep. Anyway, to the keep with him. Hi. Yeah, so this guy just attacked a bunch of people for whatever reason. Today, he just started attacking people. That's an A-help, by the way. We will A-help it. Like, wordlessly tried to go on a murder spree for whatever reason. Just gonna put up a, would-be mass murderer. Hang on. Hoi! You want that to gate? I mean, I could just fucking drown his ass, but yeah, we'll see. Son of two bitches. Hang on. I need to get to a thing to announce. No one at the gate, so I need to call it in. Is there not a scum here? Where's this? Where? Where? The nearest fucking scum. Where is the nearest scum? Where is it? Oh, thank you. Oh. Oi. We need someone to the Vanderhill gate. To keep, we got a mass murderer here. Okay, alright. Check. Alright, I'll go check. Alright, so server is being worked on. If you connected before any announcement, you will wipe your PQ. Characters were wiped if you connected. Do not help about it. We are working overtime fixing things. The last backup is from 4 days ago. That should be fine. Hi? 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 I have no idea. He ain't said a word. I have no idea. Nate? Nope. He dead. Well, let the gods. 10? Well, let the gods sort it. 10. Nay, 'tis part of me job. Part of me job. Fucking so slow. I'm so slow and I need to drink and pray and it's just all over. Aye. He did. I'm gonna strip him and prep him for the grave tenders. Did. Also, we'll see about getting punishment from the gods. About getting punishment from the gods. Alright. Hat, pouch, satchel. We're taking everything off. Okay, doing an A-help, not for PQ or anything, but we had a man wordlessly just try to go on a mass killing spree, but he fucked up. He fucked up real bad and bought it. Name is Gark. No words spoken. Just drew his bow and started shooting. All right. Hey, Grindus. Oh yeah, I am. If my PQ got wiped, I'm okay with that. If they said that the last backup was from several days ago, that's fine with me. I was up to 18.4 PQ. I'm fine. So. All right. Right. What the hell? Right, now unchain him. Alright, put the chain in me back. Anything in the satchel? Oh, you had a lantern. Free lantern for us. Okay, cool. And we'll give that to another forest guard. That only seems fitting and fair. Okay, boots and everything, don't give a shit about. Fur cloak, don't give a shit about. What's in your pouch, sir? Thank you for your donation to the forest guard, asshole. Alright. Yeah. Alright, cool. I think that's how we'll deal with the situation. That'll be what it is. Aye. Yep. Oh, okay. They sealed immediately. I was gonna say no problem. All right. Cool. Pardon me. To man downstairs was a mass murderer. Tried to kill many. Failed, luckily. See to it he be buried. The gods are aware of his sins. If you want any of his gear, you can have it. I just took to Mammon's and the lantern for the forest guard. Edendor, watch over ye. Speaking of, ye need a lantern. Well, we got a new one. Well, we got a new one. Well, we got the new one. Oh. Whee. Aye. Ah. I wish I could move me old bones. Bones the way ye do. I wish move me old bones the way ye do. Why can't I can't clean up anything from it. So I see. Oh, still feel another bite in my left side. Bit of the bite in the left side. Hey. Hey, you need a lantern. You need a lantern. Hey, take it from that mass murdering asshole. He is getting buried, and the gods gonna punish his sins. He's gonna get buried. Anyways, I will go pray and see ye back at the forest. Cool. Anyways, sorry about that. Guys, again, we were dealing with a shitter, unfortunately. I'm not playing a dwarf at the moment. I would play Thorin, but Thorin wouldn't really be a, like, forest guard. He's heavily Briar main. So. Haze be to you, Dendor. Father of these forests, the hills and streams, and all the beasts within. I pray that I will serve you faithfully, and that I will ever carry out your will. Guide me to whatever fate has in store, and when it's my time, may I be returned to the forest to bring life anew from my remains. Remains? No! I put a D in there! Fuck! From my remains. No! Shit. Yeah. My, Mouth. Why can't I ever drink? I can never figure out how people drink from the fountain, and I never can. Middle mouse, maybe? Hang on, can I bite the fountain? That's how you do it! I was like, wait a minute. Logical process of deduction. Can we bite the fountain? And that's how you drink. Oh my god. Yeah, I love Vanderlin. I've been playing the shit out of Vanderlin. Yes, we bite the fountain. And that is indeed... that is how we drink. Well, it was always going to take off because it's part of Monkey Station, right? So, Monkey Station has a really big population. I was always interested because dark medieval fantasy is my jam. So the moment that, like, Ook was like, by the way, we have a dark medieval fantasy server, and I was like, Ook? You know the magic words. So I've been playing a shit ton. The admin said here because I joined too early, I probably had my PQ and everything lost. But I'm okay with that. I can get that back. I don't know. I've never had the same struggle. Gonna take a wee nap upstairs, and I will be good to go. Is the warden in? If nay, may snatch his bed. 'Tis a soft bed. All right. Ah, sweet luxurious silks. All right. Yeah, I don't have a gambeson on, so I can't wear the mail and go to sleep. If I had gambeson on, it'd work. I am currently playing as a forest guard. This is my first time as forest guard. But I often spend all my time out in the forest anyways. My main character is a Dendorian Briar. That's what I'm most famous for. That or my my dwarf. So I have Harkus Ironforge, who's probably my most famous dwarf. Then I have Thorin Denderson, who is a Dendorian Briar, who is probably my second most famous one and everything. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not a problem for me. Not only because I like playing positions that require lower amounts of PQ, but also I never had a problem gaining PQ to begin with. You just play your character. That's all you do. You just play your character. And they said it's only pushed back 4 days. So it's not like I might lose 4 PQ, maybe. If I lose all of them, I don't care. I'll just play Briar. Doesn't matter to me. But yeah, so I don't know. Like, again, it's not me bragging or anything. I'm just one of those people. This clicks with me, right? Ugh. Oh, that feels good. Oh no, I took the bedsheet. Alright, gotta put back on me neck protection. Put back on me thing. I should probably go get a reinforced gambeson. Honestly. There we go. Okay. Where are the rats? There we go. Lamp turn up. Hi, let's begin a patrol. Oh, here's our barracks. Here's where the lanterns were. Why I didn't see that door before, I don't know why. But there you go. Bitterness, okay. Toss them. So the dark purple are bitter. Damn, unfortunate luck. That's been picked clean. That's been picked clean. Server is currently unstable, and playing currently may corrupt your save data, including character sheets, PQ and triumphs, etc. Would recommend disconnecting and avoiding connecting currently. The server is currently online for the sake of admin testing. Oh. Oh. Okay. Alright. We'll say it's a short stream today. I could talk about Vanderlin, I guess, but we'll call it a short stream today. I will go settle in to the Forest Guard. If people want to get there, they can. But it says it can corrupt everything. So, like, corrupting everything is not good. So I'm going to go in here, and we are just going to sign off on the server. There. I'm on the top bunk, so I'm not in everybody's way. Alright. But, hey, that's unfortunate. It happens, though. That's Space Station 13 for you. Okay. Like I said, I won't really care if it does corrupt, because I know all my characters' names, I know all the attributes, I know exactly how to rebuild them and everything. I won't personally care if I have to start over, that's fine with me. Like, I've played enough, so yeah. Yeah, data issues are a pain. They're absolutely a pain. So, I won't be bothered, but I know for some people that'd be horrible. Yeah, after that announcement message, I decided to DC. I won't be too bad to get all the PQ and such back, but if I do lose it, but that is fine. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, people are just talking about it in the admin thing, but that's okay. Yeah. Haven't delved into combat at all. Okay, so one of the biggest issues in Vanderlin's combat is people don't understand how the combat system works. Right? So you see all those buttons and things like that. You saw we changed the bite and everything. So bite changed my middle mouse interaction to now I bite things. But most people are like, what does feint mean? What does defend mean? What does that button prompt mean? That is for stuff when you're in combat mode. So none of your combat skills will actually work if you're just in normal, regular mode, right? You need to actually trigger combat, and your character readies themselves, and now they're using the stance, which is what feint, defend, strong, weak mean. That is your combat stance. Now you're actually using those stances intentionally. So that's the biggest one for combat. If you ever get in a fight, you need to actually toggle combat mode on. Otherwise, you will not dodge, you will not parry, you won't be able to do feints, you won't have defensive stances, you won't have any of that stuff. Let's see. Is there any other use for bitter berries? Like, can they be used to ruin the wine of the good berries? Yes, they can. Or can they be made in something else? Yeah, they're highly toxic. So what some people do is they will make special like containers of bad berries, and they will like dip arrows into them and shit like that. So now there's a toxin on it as well. Or coat a dagger with it, stab somebody with it. So not only are they bleeding now, but they also have a toxin in their body. Yeah, I like Dendor. The resistance to knee stingers. At first, I thought that was kind of a meme, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, actually, that's a really good buff. That's a really good godly buff. Like, holy shit. Yeah, I also need to pester Ook and stuff about more things. Yeah, same. If I lose the PQ, I'll be fine. People are talking about PQ's not important, just play a farmer. Yep. Let's see, more than likely, I was just, hang on. I was curious all, like I could see those knee stingers, yep. Its slow resist, movement was, and always will be King SS13. Yeah. When you saw how fast that forest guard forest ranger could move. Me as a forest warrior, I was a lot slower, but that forest ranger could fucking haul ass. However, in a fight, Like, if that Forest Ranger tried to fight me, I would just clap him, right? We were playing on Vanderlin, but Vanderlin's having some problems right now. So most of the stream has been watching a Fat Electrician video, talking about the history behind it. Again, I didn't expect I was going to get as teary-eyed as I did during that video, because I already knew the story of John Basilone. So I was kind of hoping that knowing that would kind of, like, dull me to it. But man, when it got to that point, it was still a heartbreak. You can even tell Fat Electrician was, like, heartbroken as well. It was one of those moments of, like, there are those people in history that are like, this is one of the ones that should have made it. There are just those people. And John Basilone was one of them. But yeah, that was rough. That one was rough. Yeah. So again, right now we're just talking about the server and everything like that while we wait. The admins are doing all that stuff. Yeah, Vanderlin is part of Monkey Station. That's the reason why I knew of Vanderlin early days. Yeah. Gobos are, I think, the most annoying enemy in the forest. Gobos are absolutely peak on my fuck off meter. I hate Gobos. I hate them so much. They are immensely frustrating to deal with. Not only because they have those annoying sounds that... Not only because of that bullshit, but because they dance. They are so fucking good at dancing around and getting in, quick stab and jumping away. My god, I hate them. I hate them so much. And they always seem to get criticals. It's the most frustrating part. You will be beating the shit out of a Gobbo. He won't have hit you once, and then the moment he does hit, critical hit. Instant artery ruptured. I fucking... Oh. It's like, motherfucker, I hate you. I hate Gobbos. Yeah, I know Kilgore is. Again, I'm friends with Ook. Oh, that's not how you spell his name. It's one L and no E. Yeah, no, I'm friends with Ook. Yeah. It's funny. I was pestering him the other day. I was like, give me lore. Give me lore. I need to know lore about Dendor right now. And he's like, well, maybe if you catch me on stream. And I was like, oh, you motherfucker. So I watched him on stream, and he didn't talk about the lore. And I was like, you blue-balling son of a bitch. You blue-balling asshole. Give me the lore on Dendor, damn it. It's funny, because I wrote up a whole thing for him. He's like, I want you to post that to suggestions. Like, yeah, I will. I will absolutely post the suggestions. But I need to know more lore. I need to know who the lore master for Vanderlin is, because I'm gonna menace them immensely with a chart. There's gonna be a chart, and it's gonna have pictures and everything on it, and I'm gonna shove it in their face and like, look at this graph! They do not know what they have unleashed. When an actual writer gets things like this, and they're like, ooh, there's potential here for interesting lore. Please. There's potential here. So the way I had it written, I have written up an entire thing for Dendor that I want the lycanthropy, werewolfism, to be a gift from Dendor. And everyone's like, no, but it's a horrible curse. It's an affliction. They're like, no, you don't understand. Dendor would never see it that way. He is the mad god. He would see it as he's doing everyone a benefit. Oh, you're a worshiper of Ravox? Well, here, I'm going to turn you into a werewolf. Ravox will love it, but you're going to be so much stronger. Ravox loves strength. He's going to be like, bro, Dendor, that was so cool. Obviously, not that fucking modern lingo, but still. You know, Ravox will absolutely love the fact you're going to be stronger. You know, it's that kind of like off-kilter thing, right? And that's the kind of insanity I hope they go for Dendor. I hope they don't go for the, oh, I move my fingers in weird ways and I look around pretending I see things. That's not madness. That's fucking theater. I hope they go for the madness where everything is off skew. Like, he doesn't understand the consequences of his actions. No, not at all. They don't have to. Madness doesn't have to be they talk in gibbering mad tongues or anything. The most interesting madness for me is they have no concept of consequences. They have no concept of their actual actions and ideals and things that they're doing. Like, he'd give 2 people werewolfism. Dendorian would probably see it as a great boon and benefit and be like, thank you, and be able to more easily control it. Anyone else would probably like give into the hunger and go on fucking murder sprees and things like that. And Dendor would look at both of these werewolves and be like, yes, this is good. They are exactly the same. Which again, that's a level of madness. And I like that much more. That's far more interesting. You can do far more stuff with it. Like, and I use 40K as an example in part of the thing. In 40K, the Chaos Gods grant random mutations and chaos afflictions to their worshippers, even their most devout. They don't see them as problems. They see them as, we're giving you a great boon, a great benefit. Oh no, you have a tendril coming out of your butthole. That's good. Yes, this is a great mutation. And then the guy dies from sepsis because he can no longer poop. And the Chaos got to be like, well, how'd that happen? He was a great boon. Oh, well, look at him now. He's a little Chaos spawn. Oh, look at the little Chaos spawn. Again, it's just, that's the way I want Dendor to be played, where it's more like he doesn't understand that werewolfism is probably a bad thing. He sees that it's just a good thing. He's like, it's a good thing. And you can't convince him otherwise. Be like, but they're killing people. People die anyways, who cares? No, I did it for emphasis. That's why, it's shocking, right? It's one of those things where any normal, any sane being, anyone with intelligence would be like, that's not a good thing. What the fuck? What are you doing? Anyone that doesn't, like, have that level of morality or that level of intelligence, that who isn't that delusional, would be like, that's a horrible thing. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What's wrong with you? It's the same thing with Dendor. Remember, Dendor is a mad god. So he'd be like, yes, werewolfism is a good thing for everyone. Ravux, you're so proud of your new champion I turned into a werewolf, right? He's so strong. Ravux like, he's killing everyone. And then Dendor would give him that little, like, side-eye glance, like, raise an eyebrow and be like, people die anyways. What are you getting at? That's nature. No one lives forever. What? I don't see what the problem here is. He's murdering people. Oh my god, he's eating that child. So? The child will become one with the earth and sprout new life. Again, and it's that's the kind of madness I hope they go for. If they go for the gibbering, like, one eye opened wide, other eye low, looking at invisible things that aren't there, that would be so fucking boring. Yep. Yeah, exactly. He'd be like, Ravux, you worship strength. You're all about strength, being strong. I have made your champion. I have made them so much stronger. Look at them. They can tear people in half. They're doing it right now. Why are you not amused? I also believe in justice, you asshole. What? This is natural justice. The strong live. To eat is to live. What's wrong with you? Ravux, I think you've gone insane. That's why in my setting, too, this isn't related to Vanderlin, but in my settings, I like dealing with the concept of justice, and how justice is not a fixed concept. It's how in the Meraxis books, the God of Justice was such a piece of shit. He's such a scumbag asshole who can't keep his word. Because justice is different depending on who is carrying out justice. Everybody has a different idea of what justice is. One king might think it's just to rip out the tongues of everybody that slanders. Another king may say that justice can only be carried out through a battle to the death, and if you won, clearly you were in the right. So justice isn't a fixed concept. Justice is a fluid thing. Meanwhile, the God of oaths and duty and honor, those are all very static, very rigid. To give your word is to keep your word. That is an oath. It's not flexible. There is no flexible movement. So that's why Olander is very, very, like, stoic and strict in his oaths. He's also naive because he believed the God of Justice was on his side. That's why he gave an oath to the God of Justice, and then that fucked him over real hard. Yeah. That's the other thing, too, because there's already dynamics like that amongst the gods. Like, Estrada and her brother Nock are two polar opposites. Estrada is all about rigid structure and order and the sun, the lights of the sun. Nock is all about, like, not being stuck in rigidity, but looking for new knowledge. The search for knowledge and the preservation of knowledge is great. He also represents the moon. He is the darkness. He is shadow. So you already have these, like, concepts. The 10, and Dendor is one of the 10, are the good gods. But they have flaws. They're not omniscient. They're not omnipotent. They all have flaws to them. I like Dendor's flaw being that he created werewolves to be the embodiment of nature's wrath and fury made manifest. That is very interesting to me. Because it fits so fucking well. And then not understanding the consequences of creating such a beast. Right? I also had an admin, I put down in my notes about an admin-only spawn, or like a special thing that the admins could gift people with, which would be called the Herald of Dendor, which would be a werewolf like the others, but it would be a, like, gray fur with white streaks in it. So it'd be a big fucking werewolf, and it'd have special abilities and capabilities. Like the cry of the Mad God. The cry of the Mad God would be a shout, a scream that would, like, knock everyone down. Kind of like if you ever played the Space Station 13 servers that have xenomorphs. The Queen Screech that knocks everybody down. It's like it's a hard CC for a couple seconds. That's what I would give for the Herald of Dendor. So that way he can't really be blocked in, you know? I'm curious, has anyone made the high five yet? I don't know what you're referring to. But yeah. So we have the Cry of the Mad God. Then I would also give, like, the ability to have the Herald of Dendor actually be transformed in daylight as well. So that would be very fucking interesting. I believe your spells are all shut off while you're a werewolf. I believe. I've never been werewolf. It's funny. I have interacted with werewolves so many fucking times, I've never been a werewolf. It is kind of weird. It's kind of sus. Why have I never been a werewolf? Why? But yeah, every interaction I've had with werewolves has been very fucking interesting, especially on my Briar. Because again, my Briar views werewolves as the chosen of Dendor. You were chosen to be a werewolf by Dendor for a reason. So he tends to aid werewolves. Not directly harm anybody else, but he'll hide werewolves out. He'll heal werewolves from their injuries if they're really injured. During the day, he'll give them a place of shelter when they're not in their werewolf form. But he doesn't directly antagonize. Like, you know, he might step in the way and try to get the werewolves to run away or something like that to keep the hunt going, because he believes that Dendor Dendor has the hunt going for a reason, and it will end when Dendor says it ends. But yeah, my Briar will never attack anybody. Like, if the werewolf gets grabbed and everything after the interference, well, it must have been Dendor's will. That werewolf was fated to die, and it is part of nature. All things die. But my Briar will interfere, right? He will always interfere in things. And again, every interaction I've had with werewolves has been very fucking interesting. They've all been very interesting. That's why I started doing the Wandering Briar, to make it so that more interactions are more likely to happen. Okay, I'm just reading through stuff here. Server wouldn't shit itself because of Beyond/list corruption on the installation of WSL2. Hope you like buggy rounds. I did my best. I tried every possible thing I could to run TGS under WSL2 as a last resort, but it did not work and resulted in file errors. My absolute last resort is to just make a virtual machine with like VirtualBox or something. I don't know. I'm tired, man. I'm sorry. I tried. I did what I could. I've exhausted most options that aren't entirely stupid. I need sleep. I believe shit is super fucked and I don't know what to do. Anyone who is connected in the last 4 hours that I was attempting to get stuff working, your save is fucked. Uh-oh. Dream Demon, aka Beyond, aka the server, corrupted your save data if you connected during that time. The last backups available are from the 26th of this month, January. So only a 4-day data loss. Again, that won't affect me much. If you are affected, please send me a DM and I will restore your backup from the 26th. Make sure to tell me which server, Vanderlin Monkey. For the admins, concerned player data in the database, such as notes, tickets, etc., are unaffected. Only player saves. Okay. Well, tragic. But that's okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. No, I agree with you. It'd be too powerful. I think it'd be too strong. Like having Briar's Priest healing, or that one time you were an acolyte that buffed everyone around him on a werewolf. Yeah. That could be, again, that could be an interesting concept. Like I said, it's unfortunate the server's in a fucked state right now, but we'll see. Yeah, so I only lost progress from Monday. I don't think I really changed anything from there. I think maybe, depending on the corruption, I'll have lost 2 PQ. I think. That's it. Again, this wouldn't affect me anyways. I don't really play the high PQ characters. And honestly, when I started playing on the server, I got PQ easy peasy anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. Like I said, this is just my particular tism. I perfectly align with how the server works, so I get PQ really easily. So, yeah, it's just... It's those people that are like, man, I can never get PQ. I never get it for anything. It's like, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm running around as a guard and I'm beating all the beggars. I'm trying to be memorable. I want everyone to know my name. It's like, that doesn't make you memorable. Why would they recommend you for just running around beating all the beggars and shit like that? Why would the beggars do that? What does that bring to the beggars? Yeah, the tism is strong. The tism is strong in this one. Oh, yes. Dendor will be pleased. We will not make a werewolf. It will be a tism wolf, for he was not a man. Actually, what would you call that? Would you call that a... It'd have to be just Drakewolf, and that just sounds... I don't know, that just sounds interesting, but Drakewolf could be interesting. The Vanderlin server is mad fucked. mad fucked at the moment. Apparently the save data things is corrupted. The admin said that we did lose our save. We will see. I will check later today, and I will give a message to the admin. If it did affect me, I'll just be like, hey, can I get my data backed up from the 26th? It's no big deal. Again, I will have lost maybe 2 PQ. It won't affect me at all in the slightest, really. But it happens, you know. Earlier, Metamorphical, because Vanderlin was having so many problems, we watched a Fat Electrician video. It's a shame, but it happens. It's Space Age 13, right? It's Beyond. Beyond is going to do Beyond things. It's just the nature of it. So right now we're just talking about Vanderlin while the server is kind of fucked. Yeah. I believe from precedent, you just beat the non-compliant and take from them. No need to kill, just rough them up and grab the goods and bounce. Maybe. With a stupid motherfucker on the way out. Killing from that point would be silly. Well, if you have the hunted trait, you literally signed the contract for wordless death. An assassin is 100% allowed to wordlessly kill their target and their target only. It's kind of the devil's bargain for having that flaw. Oh my goodness. Yep. It's a shame. It happens. You know, it happens. Like I said, I won't have lost anything. Again, the data corruption wouldn't have taken away any of the memories I made. So, you know, I've literally lost nothing. It's fine. Yep. Server is borked at the moment. Data corruption issues. Now, even if my data is fucked, as is suggested, it's okay. It's okay. The backup will bring me back to, like, what, 18.4 PQ or something? Tis nay a big deal. Thankfully. Don't act dumb. Yep. Yeah. I believe they are only supposed to take the valuables. But some do grab other things. Like, taking a Briar's amulet is pretty fucked. It's pretty fucked. Oh, shit. No, slow mode's on. No! Fuck. Happens. Good to know you didn't lose much progress. What Fat Electrician? We watched the John Basilone one. As I talked about a little bit right before you got here. I didn't expect to get as teary-eyed because I knew the John Basilone story. Because again, he's one of the most famous Marines. Of course, me being a Marine, I would know John Basilone. But it still got to me, even knowing, because I even said before the video even started, like, John Basilone was one of those ones that he should have made it. But, you know, fate had other plans. But yeah, it's still, when he got to that point, it got me. And you could tell it got Fat Electrician as well. He wasn't as, like, vibrant in his talking or everything like that. He's just kind of, he slowed down a lot more at that point. And he even had, for his little, like, quick outro thing, when, you know, usually he puts in the little outro, a little thing at the end where, you know, he says something funny or anything like that. He said at the end of it, he's like, these are the endings I hate the most. Yeah, and it's fucking true. It's fucking brutal. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would absolutely not. Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't touch. Honestly, I just do not like it at all. I will post a message. Pardon, is there a current way to check if the save is corrupted? It won't be a big deal. If it is, I won't have lost much of anything. If it's backed up to Monday. Okay. Again, just checking in with what's being said in the Vanderlin stuff. If they're not played, bandits are usually quite nice if they're not played by John Fragg. I can agree with that. I've only had one time really where bandits were total fucking douche nozzles. I've only had that happen once. Yes. was just in on a forest guard and saw the warning prompt from the admins. All right, so they're saying, yeah, did you connect in the last 4 to 5 hours? I said, yeah, I was literally just in on a forest guard and saw the warning prompt from the admins. So, DC'd right after that. Okay. Yeah, not much will have changed. I know, again, I already know all the characters. I know all their names. I know exactly what I want them to be. I know exactly what classes they should play. That's why I had that moment and freaked out. I was like, fuck, no, they're not a... Fuck, it's not... Thorin's not a forest guard. That doesn't make any sense for him. Yeah, I had to change it real quick. That's okay. It's fine. I'll have lost... like I said, I'll probably have lost 2 PQ. I'll be fucking fine. I don't ever plan on playing Monarch or anything like that. It's just not a thing I'm interested in. Okay. Well, Chad, this kind of turned into an impromptu hangout stream. Also petition to ban Blue Rune chat from the game. They're borderline unreadable. Oh. Change it to pink instead of blue. Oh, God. That's horrible. Anyways, chat. Again, we're just kind of just sitting here chilling. Since chat's just kind of slowed down a bit. I think we will call it there for now. Again, wasn't the intention. Excuse me. Wasn't the intention, wasn't the plan. But it is what it is. Such is life in Vanderlin. Such is life in Beyond in Space Age 13. Have we watched the thing you put into suggestions? Hold on, I'll check that real quick. I don't believe so. Oh, no, how to pronounce Polish? Yeah, no, I haven't watched it. WSZYSCY. How is this even a word? That's a pretty good fucking question. How is Polish even a language? What's wrong with you? Anyways. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It is greatly appreciated. Apologies, we didn't actually get to play any Vanderlin. So I'll have to rename the thing to Vanderlin Broke, Fat Electrician video instead. It happens, you know. That's just the way of the way the world works. We'll be fine. We'll get our character backed up. It'll be totally fine. Everything will be okay. In the meantime, though, chat, hopefully you take care. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe and healthy. Get fit, get ripped, and I will see you guys on Monday. Yeah, should be a good old time. Tomorrow we're going to be watching Ace Ventura Pet Detective in the Discord. If you want to watch a free movie every Saturday, join the Discord. That's all you got to do. Yeah. Bye-bye for now, everyone.